I would like to welcome you to the first section of the podcast series. Every student is excellent. Every student is excellent. My name remains Joel Adewale Ajayi, and I know you. Some of you might have had uh, one or two meetings with me. I might have represented one thing or the other to you in one way or the other, but today I am welcoming you to Every Student is Excellent. And Every Student is Excellent is powered by Light Networks Global. Light Networks Global is a vision that is aimed at bringing solutions to people. So, and one of the solutions we bring is in terms of ensuring excellence in all areas of life, especially academically. Now, we are starting on the note every student is excellent because it is important for you to know that you did not just come into space to exist. You came here because there is a specific purpose that you have come in contact with. So, and that is one of the things that have also brought us to this platform because we realize that every person have a place or an existence where their excellence is manifested. So excellence is something that many people have seen that, oh, they interpret excellence as maybe a student getting 100, a student getting 90, or a student even getting an A. But excellence goes beyond that. And that is one of the reasons why we're here, to bring you to the place where you understand what excellence really means. So today we'll be talking about the foundations for excellence. We will not be explaining what excellence is yet, but we'll be looking at the foundations for excellence. The foundations for excellence. What is a foundation? Foundations are baselines for strong structural integrity. Foundations are baselines for strong structural integrity. What it means is that foundation is the first layer if you would build something strong and something that is lasting. If you are not having a lasting legacy, if there is still issues about how you do your things, then there is a challenge about your way of life and how you should be excellent. So, if I am saying, for example, that I have a structure, what I mean is I have something standing, I have something that has the ability to last, and I have something that other people can trust. So, I am in a building, for example, and I am not in the ground floor, I'm in the first floor. Whatever is making me stay on this floor is because I trust the fact that this building had been built properly. If the building were not properly built, I wouldn't be sitting here and talking to you. In fact, it might have collapsed. Well, somebody might argue and say, it might take time to collapse. It's at least it might be a new building. But even if it's a new building, you will begin to see some structural defects in it, and that gives you a lack of assurance of staying there. I live in a house currently, and I know how I look every day at signs of crack. If there is a crack, if there is an iota of doubt in the fact that that structure will stay, I would not be living there. So, foundations are baselines for strong structural integrity. Foundations also determine how we build confidence in ourselves and everyone around us that we use our structure. Let me come again. Foundations determine how we build confidence in ourselves and everyone around us that we use our structure. So, you might be thinking that your life is just about you. No, your life has little to do about you, and it has much to do about everybody around you. When you were a child, your life was connected to your parents. They would always watch your steps, trying to see how you can come up, trying to see how you can do the things that you need to do. It is because they pay attention to a life beyond themselves. And as you begin to grow, you discover that you have other obligations beyond just you. So, generally, we are not talking about life from the perspective of you and you alone. We are talking about life from the aspect that it is not just about you, but also about others. And there is something you are consciously or unconsciously raising that brings us to know if you are serious about not just yourself, but everybody around you. I once had an issue with somebody. He had gone to school. Yes, he was very intelligent. He was not a poor student. I knew him before he even came to school. But something happened that changed the trajectory of his life in 200 or 300 level thereabout. He had believed he had done registration, then walked into the hall to write his CBT exam, and he couldn't log in because the system had been done automated in such a way that you would always have to do your registration, then it will be regularized and integrated, and that would enable you to log in. But this young man could not log in. That was when he discovered he had a problem. He tried all his best. It was already exam period, about 1 or 2 weeks to exams, and his school was strict about him coming out with about their academics, registration, and things like that. And he couldn't do his other CBT exams that semester. He was only able to take his written exams. So he did the written exams with one word, with the answer that, oh, I have faith. Yes, everybody does have faith, but if you don't do what is necessary, your faith might just be useless. Thank God he got some results, but obviously they were not his results because he couldn't get what he was supposed to get. And the trauma of he not being able to write some tests and some exams would plummet into other aspects, and he would not be able to concentrate. So obviously, a student that had almost gotten 4.3 could not even make a 1 point something. And the struggle continued because when he was supposed to redo that year again, he went ahead believing in faith to do the 300 level, and that was where the problem started. He ended up using 8 years for a 5 years course. Well, ASU also contributed, but he laid the wrong foundation, not thinking about others around him, and obviously did not think about himself. On the day his father was going to hear about all these predicaments, it was already in his 4th year. Imagine you being a father and thinking that your son will graduate the next year, and your son is looking at a possible withdrawal if he doesn't get to do the right thing. The father cried. Why? Because he had expected and invested in laying a good foundation for his son, and he did not expect that along the line the structure would have a crack. Thank God the boy graduated, and today he has gotten a job, even when he made a 3rd class. But he had to put in extra work, extra effort, develop himself, ensure that he was ready for whatever comes his way. Are you also trying to play a fast one on any system and you want to take shortcuts? Shortcuts don't work. I don't think shortcuts really work. So try as much as possible to stay clear of shortcuts. Why? Because whatever foundation you are building, it determines your future and where you're going to. When I was in the secondary school, on the parade ground, they would tell us, look into your hands and tell yourself, my future is in my hands and my tomorrow is my making. Your future really is in your hands and your tomorrow is your making. Yeah, your future is in your hands and your tomorrow is your making. So, having discussed what foundations are, what is excellence? Excellence is the consistent move towards perfection. Excellence is the consistent move towards perfection. So, if you are not working to be perfect, you will obviously not be excellent. Do you understand that? If you are not working to be without errors, you will not be excellent. So, your excellence is anchored on living a life that is free of errors. Living a life that is consciously moving towards a perfect end. Whatever is not moving towards a perfect end cannot be excellent. That's just the truth. I have seen many people in my lifetime. Even now, I have people that are not living to be excellent. Why? They're not trying to be perfect in anything. Yes, many of us have believed the lie that you can never be perfect. I'm not here to argue with you that you have to be perfect. I'm just here to tell you that perfection does exist. A state of unity is what we call perfection. In engineering, we say we move from 0 to 1. Anything that moves from 0 to 1 shows a perfect streak. If you have a probability of 1, you are having a perfect record. So it's permitted that your efficiency is 0.98, 0.85. Yes, we can do away with the little that is there. In fact, you can have an efficiency of 0.75 and you get an A. That is 75%. You can have an efficiency of 0.70. That is 70%. And you get an A. So I have seen students over the years that say things like, I need to look for 80. I'm not looking for 80 marks. I'm just looking for 70. I have a student, very good student, A student. I checked his results last semester, and In all his courses, he was getting 76, 80 something, 90 something. But in one particular course, he got 69. And the lecturer who has that course, many of us cannot even meet him and say, "Sir, this boy got 69. How can you help him? He's our best. Don't let him fall." Because he's not going to listen to him. Neither will he listen to us. Because he feels that whatever you have, you have to earn it. And in earning whatever you are looking at getting is where your perfection lies. You might not be perfect, but your ability to work towards perfection in all you do, reducing errors to the barest minimum, is what makes you excellent. Reducing errors to the barest minimum is what makes you excellent. So let's quickly move to the foundations for excellence. What are the foundations for excellence? The first foundation you have to take on is the foundation of the right mindset. Many people don't know that mindset determines everything. What you set your mind to do determines where you are going to. If I set my mind to a particular direction, I set my mind to a perfect 0 or a perfect 1, that's where I'm going to get to. So what's the right mindset for excellence? Is the mindset that I can do it. I asked myself a question right from when I was a boy in the primary school. In fact, I used to tell people that my present writing was not my writing as at primary 3, primary 4. But when I got to primary 5, I saw this boy. His name is Chuku. I can't really remember his full Chuku because I now know that Chuku is God. So you understand. So I discovered that Chuku's writing was very, very good. I loved the writing. And I told myself, I am going to write as Chuku wrote. And do you know what happened? I began to consciously look at Chuku's notes, look at how he held his pen, look at how he wrote, and I followed that pattern. Today I have a nice writing, not because I went to a special writing class. It was because I learned it. I remember when my elder brother was about to take a job in a school in Lagos, they had to force them to write in a particular way. And at the time he got the job, maybe he was around 25 or 26, thereabout, close to 30. And he had to learn that calligraphic writing. Many persons have said that, "Oh, this is how my writing is. This is how I have been trained. This is how I have been raised." Do you know that you learn until death? Whatever you're going to do today, you must have learned it. If you don't learn, you cannot be productive. In fact, we learn, we unlearn, we relearn to become excellent. There are some things that you think you knew and were right. You have to unlearn them if you discover they are wrong. There are some other things that you have learned before, and your ability to learn them again, it is relearning. You are rewinding, rewriting, redoing that learning again. And there are things you learn for the first time. I have come to discover that a one-time study does not produce excellent students. A one-time attending of class does not produce excellent students. A one-time reading towards exam cannot make you get an A. In fact, if you are poor in the way you have set your mind to go, there will be a problem. You must set your mind on a goal. There must be a place you are looking towards, and that is what makes you to fix your mind on something. So what's the mindset you are going about with? Is it the mindset that I cannot do it, or the mindset that I can? I think it was in my SS1, I discovered one thing, and I wrote it in my book consistently even to my university. It started from 0 to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 60 to 70 to 80 to 90 to 100. I think I will look for it in our third podcast series, and I'm going to explicitly teach on it. It puts it at, I think 60 is I can, or 60 is I will, 70 is I can, 80 is I will, 90 is I could, and 100 is I did. I'm going to find it so that we can analyze it properly on one of our podcast section. You see, for you to say I did, that means you have a clear 100% record. I am a lecturer, and I've interacted with students in the past. I think I started lecturing for my service year in 2016, 2017. So that's almost 10 years now. You might be asking me, you've stayed long. Why are you not a doctor? Well, that's a story for another day. But the truth is, I have discovered students' approach, and I have realized that every excellent student had a mindset. The mindset that they can do it and they have no other option but to make it happen. So the right mindset is the first foundation. The second foundation is the right thinking and thoughts. When you set a target for yourself, when you have an aim, what you do on a daily basis is what determines what you are going to eventually become. So your aim can be that I want to make the best grades. It's different from a student that say I want to be the best. I have one of my close brothers, friends, you can call him a mentee, but yeah, he graduated in his last convocation as the valedictorian, that's the best student. We actually talking one time, and he said, "Sir, right from my 100 level, as I got this admission, I decided I was going to be a valedictorian." So what he meant was that I decided I was going to get my clear record of all A's. Unfortunately, in his 100 level, he got a B. But by the time he was going to continue in his studies, he had all A's all through. Presently, I have another student who I discovered in a 400 level, yes, for semester. I discovered she had all A's till that point. And presently, she's in 500 level for semester. I marked her script last semester. That's our penultimate semester now. By the time I was going to be scoring our last score, I was so amazed at how she approached the question and solved it that I could not even deduct 1 mark. She got 70. Unfortunately, I decided that any student that gets a particular mark, I was going to add 5 marks for them. So she had gotten 25 in test, and I added 5 marks for her. She got 100. At the point, I was angry with myself. Why would somebody get 100? I had to go and trace her. Who is this person? And I discovered she was the one. In all our other courses, she got 90, 90, 90. So on the day of convocation, she is not yet convocating. On the day of the convocation, I looked for her and I asked her, "Why did you score 100, 100 in my test?" Then she looked at me and said, "Sir, that mock exam you gave us, I was not prepared. I was still reading. It was that anger that pushed me to study." That is the right thinking and the right thought. So your second foundation for excellence is to have the right thinking at all times. Yes, it's good to know that I can be excellent. But what are you saying now? Even in the face of challenge. In my 100 level, we had a situation, we had done mathematics. And as at that time, I was not used to using calculators as cheat code for solving complex questions. But all the students, because we used our brains, we did mathematics, we did further mathematics, we can calculate as though. So we did not see the need for calculators, but oh boy, when I saw those questions and I discovered I couldn't finish them in time, I went back to my hostel. I told myself, I must get an A in this course. And guess what? I got an A. After I got maybe 15 over 30 in the exam, in the test, I went back, met other students, collaborated with them. They taught me how to use the calculator. I went into that exam hall and used that calculator as though I was a pro. That was how I got my A. Because I had the right thoughts and thinking. I thought to myself, I can make this happen for myself. I am not just to have the mindset that I'm going to come out as a good student. No. So you must always align your thoughts to your mindset. You must always align your thoughts to your goal. The third foundation is the foundation of the right plan and purpose. The right plan and purpose. Now, the right plan on one end and purpose on the other end. The right purpose. What is the purpose for you to be excellent? I used to tell students, the reason why I never did girls from secondary school, because I went to a boarding house, was because I looked at my mother and I looked at how she was suffering to ensure that I come to school. They barely could afford Golden Morn and all those things that other kids brought. So what we did then those years was to use our gari and pair with some of the students that had these juicy or good provisions. And I made it a point in my mind that I would be serious to repay back my mother, if not for the glory, but at least for the fact that she should be happy. She had a son that came to school and was excellent, and that's what drove me all through school. I would wake up as early as 4 a.m. to study, because I knew my mother also wake up at 4 a.m. to struggle. I gave myself the that plan. I decided to begin to have a plan from secondary school. So you cannot catch me without a plan. Yeah, in secondary school we learned that if you fail to plan, you have planned to fail. So I decided to plan my day right from secondary school. So woke up by 4 a.m., did prayers. Most times I ensured that even before the morning cry for our Muslim prayers were called, I would have woken up. So that's how any day I hear the cry, before I wake up, I fight with myself. That was a plan. A plan to always wake up early, no matter how late I sleep. Then a plan to read every time before I attend the class. In fact, in my GSS2, after having the mindset that, I can be good, my GSS2, first time I came second in class. Yes, I came second in class. I had 4 friends. I came second in class. I think one came third, the other came fourth or fifth. So we just followed ourselves, but we're together as friends. We had this connection. Then we discovered a boy, a guy, a man. Now he should be a man that was bearing the same name as me, but he always did something particular. How were we attracted to him? We attracted to him because he got 98 or so. He got 98, I got 90. First 10 GSS2. And I was like, why would this guy get 98? Because I wanted to make my mother proud. So she must not come to speech at President Giving Day and I don't have anything to show her, like, Mama, I made you proud, all this kind of thing. So I looked at what this guy was doing. After every maths class, he will fold a section of his maths textbook and he's going to go back home and solve it. And I told my friends, we must look for what this guy was doing. So we found that out and we did the same thing and began to solve. By the time we got to second term, I did not leave 1 mark for my teacher. I got everything, if I can still remember properly. I got everything. I know I was ahead of the guy by like 5 marks, but because in first term he had been ahead of me by 8 marks, it was now a gap of 2 to 3 marks. So when it got to third term and they were looking for best students in different subjects, other subjects obviously were just like third, second. So but maths, the maths department that year decided that we'll not just add it to and divide it. We're going to put all these guys to the test because this guy is just 1 mark above this person, or almost the same mark, or 0.5. So they took about 4 of us or 5 of us to write the exam for the best students, because at that time we started attending peak maths competition together and things. When we went in, I dealt with the exams and passed it, very far ahead of my friend. And that was how we came up. What was the plan? The plan was to look at what this excellent student was doing and copy him exactly. And what was the purpose? The purpose was to ensure that I make not myself happy, but I make my parents proud. So, but at this level, the purpose should be for a greater and better life after now. Because if you are a university student, you are not, obviously, maybe you are, except if you are from a rich home, your father had promised you to put you in one position or the other. There are connections in your family. But for some of us, we never had connections. We never had anybody to promise us one thing or the other. We only had our lives in our hands. Don't forget, your future is in your hands. Your tomorrow is your making. Your future, everything you will become in your future is connected to your hands, whether you like it or not. I'm an engineer, and if you will be an engineer, a real engineer in this day and age, it's not just about losing machines and connecting things. It's about using your hands to write, to program, to design. It's your hand. If you're an accountant, let's say you're a business student, whatever you're doing is connected to your hands. So your future is in your hands, and your tomorrow is what you orchestrate with that hand to be. So, and what should be your plan now? Your plan now should be how to engineer your mindset and your thinking to get to the right point for your life. What should be your purpose? Your purpose should be to ensure that you are excellent in order to bring out the best, not just in yourself, but in others. If you are excellent, definitely you attract many people to yourself. The fourth pillar of foundation for excellence is the right focus. Everybody who will be excellent must focus on one thing at a time. My favorite book says, if your eyes is single, your whole body will be full of light. That is, if you have a clear focus on one thing, you will be lighted up in that thing. It is being said that know something about everything, but know everything about one thing. It means zoom in on one thing and ensure you give it your best, whatever it is. If you are a student and you are in school, secondary school, tertiary institution, the need for you to zoom in on one particular thing at a time is important. If school is in section, zoom in on your academics, zoom in on your studies. Make sure that is all you've got. Make sure there is no distraction. Whatever divides your focus is division. And once you are divided in your thought process, in your mindset, in your plans, in your purpose, there comes a massive problem. In my year 2, okay, the ending of my year 1, I had a first class. I had a 4.76 in my first semester. But in second semester, I felt that I need to learn how to play the guitar. Secondary school, they tried to push me into playing an instrument I couldn't, because I wanted to focus on study. I wanted to focus on reading other things, ensuring that my life is properly aligned and not distracted. But in the university, I felt that I can begin to add other things. So I got involved with this guitar mastery. The guy is very good. I paid him some amount of money out of my savings of maybe 5,000 or 8,000 there about then. I know the money grew to 8,000 by graduation in 2015. But I saved that money, and out of the pain, I bought a guitar, a box guitar, in second semester, 100 level. I would always move from our new campus to the old campus every weekend to learn the guitar from this guy. And he would tell me, Joel, you have to do this guitar rehearsals for 6 hours. And this is me that I've given about 8 to 10 hours of my time to my study. I had planned my life in such a way that I had 8 to 10 hours every day to study. Now, somebody is saying 6 hours you must invest in guitar. I tried to invest my time in guitar, and it divided my focus. By the time my second semester result was out, I got a 4.21, and the result fell to 4.42. That was the beginning of how I lost my first class. Yes, I dumped the guitar after that, but the results never changed, and I had to struggle with getting back into first class. I think I made another first class semester at GP in my 300 level first semester. But yet, some other distractions came in, which we will be seeing, and I will be using my experience on this podcast series. The fifth is the right strategy. The right strategy. You must have the right strategy for you to be excellent. And this strategy varies from persons to persons. For example, in my year 1 in the university, I had no much distraction. Nothing like too much of friends or engagements, extracurricular activities. As I've said earlier, none of that. But I had the strategy to always read for as long as possible. So my strategy was simple. I am very, very active during the day. So I give myself to doing whatever I want to do during the day. So it meant that once I finish, let's say I finish my lectures by 12 noon, I can read from 12 noon to 7 or 8 p.m. I only stand up when I am dozing. When there are times in which you'll be sleeping and nodding your head. That's when I stand up, find something to eat. If I'm able to catch myself back, I come back to read again. Then, just like a story in one of the books, religious books, where the master had gone out and he was not available for a period. Then the leader of the group said, I go a fishing. And every other say, I am going with you. So that's first semester. On getting to the school, I was staying with some nice guys. We had a twin brother in my room and one guy in 200 level. I would have studied from morning till dead in the night around 8 or 9 for like 8 to 10 hours. Then I'll come to the hostel. I'll eat within 9 and 10, Then by 11, this 200 level guy and the twins, they will say, we are going out to read. And they want to go and do, in an attempt to do TDB, that's till daybreak. And when they are going out, I'll be feeling like, these guys, they will just leave me in this room. So one day, I decided that I was going to go join them. I was going to start joining them to go out. I had read and I was tired. I needed to rest. But I said, let me follow you people today. And I decided to follow them. I couldn't do anything that night. I tried it the next day. I tried it the third day. When I discovered it, that's not my strategy in 1 week, I gave up. And I am come to discover and realize that the time you have during the day cannot be compared to the time you have during at night. In fact, There is a saying that says, walk while it is day, for the night cometh when no man can walk. Walk while it is day. It means that the most productive time of your day is during the day. That is why many lectures that are impactful and long don't happen at night. No matter how you want to read at night and you have engagements the other day, you will need to rest if you will be productive for the next day. And if you want to read at night, let's say, yes, you start by 9 p.m. and you finish by 4, that's still 7 hours. Most people want to go to today break, they start by maybe 12 midnight and finish reading by 3. You've just read for 3 hours. But during the day, you have a lot of time to read. And if you do this, you can change and get yourself right. Now, the sixth is the right connections. I talked about my friends in secondary school that we strategized together to discover that guy's secret. 3 of them now are in the US. One completed his MBA. He had worked with KPMG, the big fours, before he left Nigeria. Another is almost getting his PhD. He did biological sciences or microbiology. He's in the US. The third one has finished his PhD and he joined the army in the US, who married a white lady. We had that connection. Today, I still have connections with them. I have connections with people from my university that we challenge ourselves to do the right thing. So if you have the right connections, I have a professor. Today is HOD of my alumni school, in my department for undergraduate. He had a first class. And how did he make his first class? He made his first class by relating well with other students in his level, in his department. And what does he do? He seeks out questions he needs to study, meets with these students and tell them. He meets with student A and say, teach me. So that one solves the question in his own way. Meet with student B. The other students solve the question in their own way, explain their own way. Meet with student C. And he combines A, B, and C knowledge together. And he even used to jokingly tell us that maybe 1 or 2 of those students never made a first class. And he did make a first class. He went ahead to do his master's abroad in China. Further went to Cranfield to do his PhD. So you must have the right connections and utilize those connections. It's not connections of students that will be telling you, let's go to parties. It's not connection of people that will be telling you, you too, they read. It's not connection of students that will not encourage you or push you to the limit. Then the last, you must have the right resources. It's easier in this day and age to get resources. During our time, I spent many of the money I needed to use to eat to photocopy textbooks I couldn't get. In fact, sometimes to buy textbooks and read them. I still have some of those books. Some of those books I passed down to my younger brother who did engineering too. So the resources are important. Today's resources is your phone. When I was in the university, there was nothing like Android phone. The best you could have, the best I actually graduated was a Java phone. And the space is not as when now that you can read a PDF on your phone, materials are being sent, it's easy to get. Most of us had to go the hard way. In fact, it was not even easy to get materials online. You have to go to the library, borrow library materials, photocopy them, and read. But today, the resources are everywhere. In fact, no student should be failing in this time. Because if your lecturer does not teach you well, you can get about 5 YouTube videos of different lecturers that will be teaching the same principles. Many of my 200 level students failed applied electricity. And it's understandable because even me, as an undergraduate, I struggled with applied electricity. I think I got a B in it. But the resources are now available. 1 click away, you would see different teachings on the YouTube concerning these things. If you can harness the right resources, you can get the right solutions to every of your problems. So I am glad and happy that you connected today. I will be taking questions now and answering your questions.